All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course, on pause and repause. As usual, that's what I'm talking about. It's a fun-packed news day. It's one of those days where there's a lot to talk about, so I like those days better. It makes my job a little bit easier. Of course, Hegseth and then Trump speaking earlier with regards to military affairs. We'll get into all of that because that's fairly important. Mamdani the other day refused to disavow, when asked specifically about this, the Democratic Socialists of America were making a tribute to Assata Shakur. If you know anything about Assata Shakur, there's a reason why no reasonable person would be proclaiming her to be some sort of folk hero or something. You know, after possibly killing a man and a police officer and a slurry of other crimes, dismissed under odd circumstances in a few of those cases. Plus the whole breaking out of jail and then fleeing to Cuba thing. Yeah. She's the regular American patriot. We should make a statue just like we do for George Floyd, I suppose. We've got inflation refund checks in New York. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to help anyone for the most part. By the way, people can get hundreds of dollars even if they're making six figures. Although I will admit a lot of people in New York State make a very large amount of money because a lot of them are concentrated in the New York area. That's from Hochul. Massive comet zooming through solar system could be alien technology, Harvard astrophysicist says. Pro tip, it's not. It's just a comet. But supposedly, and because it's so large and so dense, obviously it has to be, from some other world. I don't know why aliens would design such an odd object in order to spy on Earth. I don't think that that's happening. I don't think so. Here's a scientific breakthrough, by the way. Cancer uses mitochondria to reprogram neighboring cells. Apparently, what they thought originally was cancer cells can absorb mitochondria. What they didn't realize is that they can also inject them, actually. So this could have huge health ramifications. This could be the beginning of real great research into trying to stop certain kinds of cancers. If you could reverse engineer the basic principle, maybe you can flush the diseased mitochondria back out, and maybe you can even cure cancer. I thought Biden was supposed to do that, but it didn't happen. And then what may be one of Earth's earliest animals has a punk rock vibe. It's, by the way, named after Johnny Rotten, actually, Lindonia. And then there's this one story from Virginia. I'll try to get to it. Virginia Attorney General criticizes Fairfax's handling of sex offender Richard Cox's case. Cox, yeah, what a fitting last name, by the way, if you look at his mugshot. Doesn't that scream owns unmarked white van and an inordinate amount of candy? Just saying, dude gives me the creeps. BW Sticks, is the shutdown bad for Trump or is it good because when the government shuts down, power goes to the executive? It is neither good nor bad, but it's bad for the Democrats. With the Republicans and or Trump, it's more even Stevens, but it's very bad for Schumer. Copium Poppies, did you check out those songs by Vulcan I sent? No, I haven't gotten a chance yet. By the way, where did I put it? Hello, by the way, wait, is he even here yet? No, he's not here yet. Lemon Curd Zero actually sent me a little pin. It's a cutlass. It's like a pirate pin. And I thought I brought it in here. Apparently I was wrong, so I'll have to show it off tomorrow. I appreciate it. I keep everything that subscribers send me, even if you send me a pile of pig shit. So anyway, let's get to the main story first, then the sponsors, and we'll get to the rest of the news. What Trump told Politico about the impending government shutdown. Oh wait, that's the wrong story, actually. That's not the right one at all. I wonder where the tab went. Whoops. Been caught slipping. Ah yes, here we go. Pete Hegseth declares a return to the highest male standard only in military combat roles. Yes, Hegseth made his speech in front of much of the U.S. military brass earlier. Trump was in attendance. He made a speech as well. And there are several important things. Number one, you're no longer getting the DEI shit. So that's not going to be taken into consideration with regards to military hiring. Secondly, we're returning to the old standard, the old gold standard, in which everyone has to pass with the same aptitude, and it's going to be the highest level male ranking test. Now, Pete Hegseth, of course, preemptively said, well, yeah, this might keep women out of some combat roles, but I don't give a shit. I just do not care. Who cares? This is the right attitude to have. If you're going to have people in combat, you need to make sure troop readiness is as high as it can be. Lowering standards for testing based on the fact that you want more women and dwarves and stuff like that, I guess, in the military is not the right way to go. If anything, the standards should be raised even further in some of the branches. Don't think the Marines have a problem at the moment, but yeah, the standards arguably should be even higher, because war is hell, and also women should be protected. That's usually been men's job. We're the ones that do the shooting. Women in non-combat roles, that's entirely different. You have, in the army and so forth, you have nurses and so forth, communications, and clerical work and things like that. Now, that may not be like, you're not going to be the next Mulan, probably. Believe it or not, you're probably going to get blown up instead. So, I don't understand, by the way, how it's an affront to the rights of women to say, hey, we would rather you not get splattered by a landmine. I just cannot bring myself to understand that. Women are what creates the next generation of people who are, combat capable. So lowering the standards was always a bad idea. And for a while there under Biden, the military became a running joke, including among people that have served in the U.S. military. I haven't met that many people that served or are serving that were happy and comfortable with what happened there. It makes absolutely no sense. Mulgera, Clank, I'm sending some of my Hans Hermann Hope books out to Hope today for him to sign. They're going to Turkey. It's super exciting. I'm so glad he got back to me. That's pretty cool. Lemon Curd, thank you very much for the pin. I actually thought I had brought it in here to show off, but I think that I forgot to do so. So keep in tune tomorrow, and you can see the pin. It's pretty cool. I thank you very much for that, by the way. So yeah, we're going to return to the old standard, which means that our troops will be more ready. And this is not discriminatory, because this is the military we're talking about. It's a little bit different than hiring for some clerical position in a corporate office or something. You might get, maybe your hand got caught in the photocopier, oh my god, on-the-job injury or something like that, but you're probably not going to get shot at. You're probably not going to have to go through a landmine or, try to navigate through an area that's filled with IEDs, so, yeah. I approve of this strongly, and I haven't met actually that many people that don't. Copium Poppies. Does anyone know any lawyers in Oregon who oppose wokeness? I have a couple cases that could be a massive blow to the left, but need help. Lawyers don't exactly advertise their political leaning on Google. No, but they usually have footprints with regards to their social media. So you'll have to check in. Just look them up on social media, and you should be able to get a feel for their opinions, because everyone has one. Opinions are like assholes. Now we broadcast them publicly. Turtle's Toy Box. Sound choppy or just me? I don't know, because I can't listen to myself while I'm recording. That would annoy me slightly. Oh, it's choppy. Last time that it was choppy, it fixed itself, so... Yeah, we'll do test here, I suppose. It should clear itself up. Sometimes it lags a little bit. Choppy. Okay, let me check this. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, this happens occasionally. Yeah, there's nothing that I can do about it. Copium Sticks, you sound like RFK again. And there's video of that entire speech already up online. Our choppy sees ahead, Captain, says Tarred and Feathered. SEO cam seems fine here. Huh. You never know. Sometimes it works better than at other times. Let's get to our sponsors, though, first, shall we? We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills for yourself. They will help to boost your overall mood, and they help with the immune system, too. Mushroom extracts are known to be medicinal. Chaga, especially, and lion's mane have been implicated in some significant health benefits. And there's now doggo snacks, too, to get that nice sheeny coat and so forth to make Doggo happy. Doggo will be very happy eating them, probably scarfing down more than they're supposed to have in one given sitting. We have BiltongUSA.com. That's the land of Anton's meat. Yes, indeed. Whoops. Oh, well, whatever. He can sell you meat. Wagyu, Angus, Cabanassi, venison, all sorts of stuff. Bison, some shredded, some in stick form. They both have their own uses, by the way. Also imported goods, such as Bovrite, which is delicious. It's the better version of Vegemite. Also got that, too, so it's all good. And we get sex and hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts as well. And finally, jamandbean.com. That is jamandbean.com, the home of Clanker coffee, as well as various teas. I've got one sealed pack still left back here. This is the Clank blend. But it doesn't really matter which coffee you get. Even the decaf tastes good, and that's the only decaf I've ever had that did, so they've accomplished something. And by the way, use code STICKS on these sites for a discount. Copium Poppies, they don't tend to list their socials. Yeah, but then if you know the name of the lawyer and you simply Google it, sometimes you can find their accounts. Also, Google miscategorizes the field of law they practice. Yeah, you have to go on just the base, beyond the basic Google searches in order to tell what's going on these days. Yeah, I'm going to try to exit the studio and re-enter. Alright, we're going to see if that worked. Oh, my audio is stuttering. Well, no shit. Alright, did that fix the problem? Yeah, because the last time I just fucking didn't do anything. See, some people are saying it sounds fine, and some people are saying it sounds like shit. I don't know. I have no clue. Let me entirely exit the studio, and I will return in. Okay. Yeah, I have no clue what's going on if my audio is having some fucking problems. Okay. It'll probably go in and out. It usually does. What Trump told Politico about the impending government shutdown. He said basically, fuck yourself. This is effectively this government shutdown is the result of the Democrats not wanting to compromise and wanting to. Americans do not support that. The Democrats do not appear to understand this dynamic, actually. They don't appear to comprehend the fact that the people have spoken. There's a reason, number one, why they voted for Trump, and there's a reason, number two, why they widely support not having a shutdown. So Schumer mainly is going to be the one that owns this, because the Senate filibuster is the only thing standing in the way of the bill being passed. The House voted for it, every Republican in the Senate voted for it, the Democrats were the holdouts. Copium, nope, you're still RFK. Viking woman, many including me haven't received unemployment since the state system overhaul. Some wait since May. I even had to call the governor's office for help. Alright, I'm going to check my connection. Yeah, it's connected properly on my end, so it's not my problem. Jesus Christ. So yeah, the government shutdown is on. That will take place a second past midnight tonight, and it's probable that it will shut down. It doesn't look like there's no time left for them to hammer out any sort of meaningful deal. So it doesn't really make a difference. All of this fund it for 45 days sort of crap that they've been doing. Why don't you just pass a longer term budget that people can generally agree on? Now, there should be some, I mean, you'd think that as the Democrat Party, they would want to democratize what they prioritize within the budget bill. But they're not doing that. No, instead they're holding out against it and forcing a shutdown because they want to give all of our money to people who are already breaking the law by being in the country. So, yeah, that's basically the hill that they've decided to die on. And that's what's happening to them politically, because people are punishing them for it. I can't imagine that Chuck Schumer has very long to go in Congress at this rate. It's crazy that a political party would actually engage in such behavior, though. Because normally the Democrats are the more strategic ones, but they're just not reading the room lately. For years now, they've been well behind and well fucked on issues like this. They seem to think that the average American wants to open the border and let people flood in and then take care of them and pay for everything for them, to the exclusion of having the funds to pay for the homeless veteran, the native-born single mother of three. No. Fuck them. No, we need to give it all to somebody who is breaking the law every second that they exist in the country. Jaguar cars just got a $1.5 billion government bailout following their disastrous ad campaign. Jag be bust, but for taxpayer bailout. Why am I not surprised? I'm going to look that up. Oh, that's an underwriting in the UK, and it's a loan actually, so that doesn't affect us. I was worried that they were going to throw a bunch of US taxpayer dollars at it. I realized that Jaguar is foreign made. Now, hopefully the connection remains stable here. I don't want people to hear me as RFK Jr. I guess I was doing a perfect RFK Jr. impression there for a while, so, I add one more to my repertoire. Mamdani refuses to disavow sick DSA tribute to cop killer Assata Shakur. Now, there is some question as far as the evidence over whether she was the one that fired the shot, because they did establish that if she was in a prone position firing at the time, then when she got hit in the arm, the wounds are not necessarily commensurate with that. But at the same time, forensics analysis back then was not quite the same as it is today. So a bullet can ricochet, a bullet can change trajectory, and move in a different direction. So she was found guilty of murder, and she was put in prison, but then a bunch of other socialists helped her to escape. She was, part of various racist black nationalist groups, part of several communist organizations throughout time, and when she escaped, where'd she go? She went to Cuba. Oh, you mean that communist nation down there, to a party with El Fidel. I'm sure she had a good time down there, by the way. Actually, they interviewed her a few times. But if you look at the laundry list of things that she was at least adjacent to in the criminal sense, I mean, crimes of various sorts, it is quite long, and some of them are violent crimes. Now, it seems like she sort of slipped through the cracks in the court system and generally managed to get away with all the major shit, but she got nailed for this particular instance. Several people were injured as well. She was riding in a car with several other socialists, and they got into a shootout with the cops, and the rest is history. The Democratic Socialists of America consider her to be sort of a folk hero for some reason, even though, really, I mean, what did she add to your cause? Other than possibly planting a few explosives and possibly killing a man for no reason. So, but Mamdani, who's running for the mayor of New York City, he refuses to disavow. He was asked point blank, do you disavow this, because he is a socialist. And he's like, basically, whatever, no comment. I don't give a shit about that. Spike. Could this shutdown cause a massive red wave or lack of support for the Democrats in the upcoming elections in November? Also, New Jersey is very winnable. Yeah, they might get punished in New Jersey first. That could possibly be our bellwether. Maybe. We're not 100% sure. As far as the top-level elections, I think that by the time those happen, the shutdown will be over. Unless the Democrats decide to hamstring the economy again, which they may very well do. But I'm not too worried about it causing any major problems for the GOP. If I was a Democrat, I'd be more nervous. We'll put it that way. Copium. Trump should arrest Congress while government is shut down and hold a special emergency election to replace them with real people with no connections to the establishment, janitors, plumbers, and truckers. Yeah, well, that would be difficult to do. Also, he would end up getting ousted. They would call it an insurrection. They'd be closer to the truth this time around if that happened. Lawyers and businessmen need not apply for Congress. Yeah, but those are the people that tend to have the money and the connections to actually get into Congress. It's become a problem. John Hoyle, I'm still pissed that Google slanders you as alt-right and far-right. Please sue them for $1 billion. I don't give a shit what they label me. Also, it's not Google making the declaratory claim. It was the Data Society report and groups like that. People who follow communism generally. I'm sure that to a communist, I am very, very far right. What do fuck? At least 12 states now are making EBT purchases of junk food and drinks illegal. Why isn't this nationwide? Well, because that would be a state function. That's not a federal power. I do support the initiative, though. EBT is meant to supplement. So, buying staple goods and things like that. Now, some people, they don't even own a fucking stove. So if they're buying, foods that they can just prepare without that and shit, at the very least, it should be healthy. Because the junk food, take a toll on them. It also takes a toll on the healthcare industry. If people are using their SNAP benefits to buy, junk, they're running their health down. It would be like having EBT and you could buy cigarettes or something like that. Inflation refund checks up to $400 are now being mailed to over 8 million people. Here's who's eligible. This is in New York State. And if you look at the numbers here, it's pretty funny. So you'll get $200 if you earned $75,000 or less. $200. Thank you. After Bidenflation, how much does that buy? It doesn't even buy a full cart of groceries at this point. And that's if you're going to the store that sells it the cheapest and you're getting like the B-list vegetables and shit like that, the B-list beets, you're still going to be paying a significant amount of money to fill up a grocery cart. Like, you remember when they had those challenges and like when you won the contest, you could go into a store and you could take a shopping cart and you could put whatever you wanted into it for like several minutes or something like that. And then whatever you grabbed, it was yours for free. I don't think they do that as much anymore because basically it'd be like winning the lottery at this point. This is not going to help anyone. Single filers who earn more than $75,000 but less than $150,000 will receive $150. Again, that's not even a week's groceries at this point. Unless you're really cutting corners and using a lot of coupons and stuff. Filers who earn, this is funny, joint filers who earn more than $150,000 but less than $300,000 will receive $300. So you got a couple, and between the two, they've both got six-figure salaries. They're going to get $300 for no reason, partially paid for by taxpayers who won't even qualify on any of these things. Where'd they get the rest of the money? Because I think this is lopsided economics. Hochul, crowing about this. Yeah, basically you're paying people for their votes more than anything else, I'm sure. She wants to ingratiate herself, I guess, to people who are, below the poverty line. And I can understand, the desire to help people, but this is not going to help anyone. It's simply not. It's not going to help anyone. $100. Wow, man. Wow, $100. Okay, let's see. What am I going to eat this week? I guess on the last couple of days of the week, I won't be eating anything. Unless I want to eat nothing but microwave burritos or something, but they're probably not going to be covered. They'd probably be labeled junk food. Ramon C. GTC, Kamala's daughter, the new Sweeney, ha ha ha. Corn Pop, is it okay if I call you Stickers? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, this is absolute nonsense. I mean, 8 million people could potentially qualify. It's a shit ton of money. And it's coming from the taxpayers. The irony is that some of the people that paid into the tax system are going to get a small proportion of that money back out. New York State has a relatively high state tax rate. Is it higher than the state of Vermont? I don't think so. I think Vermont's among the highest. Can't remember what the highest was. Actually, I think it was a red state, if I remember correctly. I can't remember. Rapture Farms. Tylenol babies. Yeah, we've got crack babies or so yesteryear. Now it's Tylenol babies. Moskvich, damn, having your Hawaii house burned down in a forest fire for $800 is starting to sound like a good idea. It's funny, there's actually a lot of cheap land in Hawaii. I wouldn't want to live there, but I would like to visit someday. I want to go to a luau. I want some motherfucking pineapple pork. That's what I'm talking about. But New York is very high tax, very high cost of living. Unless you get out into the real boonies, where nobody wants to live for the most part, unless they're a survivalist, if they're lucky, then, a lot of people in New York, they tend to live in urban areas where the costs are higher, too. Tarred and feathered, microwave burritos are not junk food. While I would agree, it might get listed. I mean, it's completely arbitrary. They're gonna do the typical government thing and have like a laundry list of different kinds of foods, probably down to the brand. I can remember back in the day, you could get which one was it? You could get one. I think you could buy Monster energy drinks with SNAP benefits, but you couldn't buy Red Bull. I don't know. Maybe it's because Red Bull is from Austria? I have no clue. When government gets involved, it typically makes things worse. Spike, inflation checks will just make inflation worse in the future. Smart play would be to reduce taxes. Yeah, try convincing New York State to do that. I would have recommended, what the fuck? I would have recommended the old Lahana Luau, but I believe it burned down. Yeah, I mean, the whole goal is to increase nutrition, so you should be using it for nutritional food. The other problem is people can get around it. For instance, you got, a person who's getting SNAP benefits, and they're like, look, at a 10% surcharge, I'll trade you, the groceries that you want, and then you give me the money, and I'm going to go buy corn dogs or something like that. Corn Pop was a bad dude, but Corn Dog, he was a pretty good dude. Sat in the cornfield, eating hot dogs all day, minding his own business. Moskvich, speaking of forest fires, talked about today, this morning, Vermont's in a severe drought right now. This area is one of the most impacted. I think Windsor County, right to the east, is a little bit worse, but most of Rutland is under a severe drought warning. In all of the state, you're not allowed. You can't even do a container burn outside right now because it's as dry as tinder. Massive comet zooming through solar system could be alien technology, Harvard astrophysicist says. New data shows the UN Atlas is 3 to 5 orders of magnitude more massive than previous objects. This is only the third time that a comet of this particular type has actually been seen. And it's at least about 3 miles across. If it were to hit Earth, it would obliterate all human life. Thankfully, it's going to pass closer to like Venus and shit, I think. Where was it going to pass? I believe it was between, Mars, coming close to both Jupiter and Venus, so it's going to come close to them, and pass within 1.6 million miles of Mars orbit, which, by the way, is pretty close, actually, by stellar standards. It's not going to hit Earth. It's not an alien vessel being piloted by little green men. It's a giant chunk of, various material. We still don't fully understand comets. When I was a kid, they were reckoned to be dirty snowballs. We now know that they're not dirty snowballs. They're a little bit more complex than that. What do fuck? Massive comet is due to climate change. Lol. Yeah, that's what they'd be saying. If only we had had fewer SUVs, then maybe this comet wouldn't have just killed 99% of all the living things on the face of the earth. Then watch, the last survivor would be a liberal, and there's no internet or anything, so they're etching on a piece of bark or something like that. Orange man bad. He caused this or something like that. So it's not gonna hit Earth. It's extraterrestrial in origin, but it's not piloted by actual extraterrestrials or anything like that. It is a rock hurtling through space. I don't know if it's going to get close enough to the sun to give a tail. I don't know if we'll be able to really see it from Earth, though. I don't think that it's going to get anywhere near us. I remember when they tried to blame earthquakes on climate change. Do you remember that? I can't remember which legislature or who it was. Somebody was like, after one of those big earthquakes, I think this was last year, like, see, look, we warned you about climate change. Spam in Hawaii is underestimated. I tried Spam once, and while it's edible, other than as a survival food, if I had to eat it, I would choose to ignore it. I'd certainly grab up a bunch of Spam if the apocalypse came. There's a bunch of zombies in the street, and I'd have to go to the store with the baseball bat and the ball and chain and, whack a few zombies and then just, grab a couple carts, I guess. It's too salty. You could, like, smush it up and spread it on crackers or something like that. There's recipes with it. I guess in a lot of Asian countries, Spam is actually considered gourmet. And it's prepared in all sorts of ways. Got introduced, I think, after World War II, if I remember correctly. What the fuck? Massive comet hits Earth. All life destroyed. Women and minorities affected more. Yes, we needed more feminism and less SUVs, and the comet wouldn't have hit us. Obviously, the goddess up there decided to judge us for our many sins and indiscretions. Based Acid Fox. Mamdani isn't worth talking about. Oh, I disagree completely on this particular one, I hate to say. Mamdani is going to be a lightning rod for criticism because of the reason that I already mentioned. He either does or does not follow through with his policies in a meaningful sense. If he does, it ruins New York City. If he doesn't, it ruins his reputation among the core people that voted for him, and he'll get primaried back out. Yeah, Spam. Don't give him any ideas, Chatafactory. Candy corn Spam. They're always trying to mash up different brands and stuff and reformulate them and rip one another off all the time. So it wouldn't be surprising if Spam made like an olive loaf variant or something. Olive loaf, by the way, as a kid, now I don't think I'd eat it, but as a kid, pretty good. Spider Eternal, I tried Spam, tried cooking it all nice, and it was the reduced sodium version. Still totally nasty, too much salt and gross tasting. One thing, those canned stews, those are always massively salty. I think it was the Wolf's brand that I tried, because I was in the mind for stew, but I didn't want to cook it myself, and I made a mistake in so doing. About the only way you could make that palatable is if you put it in a pot and then you, like, diluted the saltiness. So then you might as well just make your own fucking stew anyway. I make an excellent stew, by the way, that I think most of you would very much enjoy, with dumplings on top, of course. You gotta steam them in with the stew towards the end. You must. Mike the Womp. Clank, motherfuckers. Mr. Mission Control. Sticks, why don't you just produce a cooking show, bro? While I love cooking, and while I can cook very well, I'm not good at presentation. And if I learned one thing when I was posting pictures and videos of the food that I was making, everyone's a critic. Dude, I get so much less flack being a social and news commentator and into politics and stuff. I get so much less flack than when I posted pictures of my fucking soup. And it was all delicious, I assure you. Copium, I had a Spam sushi at a friend's Hawaiian-themed wedding. It was actually pretty good. Here they have a bacon sushi for some reason, actually. Oh, Dinty Moore. Ugh. Yeah, don't even get me started on anything Dinty Moore. Cancer uses mitochondria to reprogram neighboring cells using fibroblast connections between the cells, actually. Sort of like little nanotubules. They've known now for years that cancer cells are capable of absorbing energy from nearby cells, and mitochondria are the factories for the energy for the cell, releasing ATP and so forth. They've always known this. But what they didn't know until they were doing research into something totally unrelated is that actually mitochondria that have been effectively reprogrammed can go into another cell and reprogram that one too. So it goes in both directions. So one cancer cell absorbs a bunch of energy, some of it goes back out, infects the next cell, and if they can figure out a way to prevent this from happening, they could probably cure cancer. You might be able to engineer it even further and deliver something into the body, whether it's a tumor or the body at whole. That would be left up to the geneticists mainly. You could potentially immunize people from cancer, and it wouldn't require like a vaccine or anything like that. It would be modified mitochondria or something like that. It does seem that there are genetic groups, and I mean this is within families and within larger groups, that have resistance to certain cancers, as well as other diseases. You look at, for example, the rise of sickle cell anemia. If you're heterozygotic for sickle cell, then you're resistant to malaria, but you don't have any negative symptoms. You don't have sickle cell. It's only when you're homozygous for the sickle cell trait that it becomes a problem. Oh, King of Biltong is here. I see you, my friend. That means it's both right time. He'll say, too salty. I'll say, not salty enough. Be funny. Maybe sometime I'll take a challenge. I'll take a piece of toast and put Bovrite on it. And then I'll shake some celery salt on it too, and I'll eat that. I don't need to get paid to do that sort of thing. I'm just weird. Hello, King of Biltong. Hope that your factory restoration there is going well after that storm blew it over. Oh, I'm back to being RFK again. All right, let me see if I can figure this out a second time. Ta-da! We'll see if that worked. We never know. Corn Pop, here's towards the Wi-Fi booster. Dude, my computer's only a few feet from the Wi-Fi on a 1 gig connection, so it's not on my end. I can guarantee you that. It's on somebody else's end. Damn it. I hate it when the audio quality suffers. I really do. What may be one of Earth's earliest animals has a punk rock vibe. Remains once thought to be decomposed material could be sponge-like creatures, researchers say. This potential new species has been named Lindonia gigamintia. Giga. Some of you are going to have fun with that prefix. Lindonia is actually after the given name of punk rocker Johnny Rotten. By the way, one of the few punk rockers that never sold out. Copium, quit being RFK. I can't do anything about it. It's not my connection. I could do a speed test right now, and I guarantee it would be through the roof. I mean, it's a 1 gig connection, and it usually is very, very good. Why are you not using an Ethernet cable? Because I also use the computer elsewhere, and it's my own choice the way that I've rigged things up. It's all good. So yeah, this weird worm-like creature might be one of the earliest animals, actually, like multi-cellular complex life, as we could call it. Looks a little bit like a sea anemone or a sea sponge in their mock-up of what it might look like. And they're thinking that it had a domed, not a carapace, but sort of a domed body shape and so forth. And originally, they had the fossil, they didn't know, they figured it was just debris. Now they're thinking that this is actually some sort of life form. Looks like one. Looks like life to me, so we'll see. They'll have to do more studies. Now, it's definitely not my microphone. I'm using the same microphone settings that I always use. Did that work? It's possible. That's about the only thing I can think of. We'll see if that has improved the audio quality. Probably not, but we'll see. Copium, I know, it's Rumble's fault for being incompetent. No, I mean, the problem is also on YouTube. Yeah, both Rumble and YouTube are having exactly the same problem, so I don't know exactly what's happening. I wish I could hear what I sounded like. I may have no choice here. Just give me a second. This is going to echo. Sorry about this. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. That's odd. I'm not hearing anything. That's very bizarre. The hell? Here, let me go. I try this. Maybe I might be doing something wrong. Let me hear what I sound like, or at least try to do so. My apologies for this. Unfortunately, we're having audio-visual issues, it seems, and you're going to hear some echo in a moment here. Unfortunately, we're having audio-visual issues, it seems, and you're going to hear some echo in a moment here. Huh. That's very bizarre. All right, we're going to try something different here. Since it's lagging, we're going to reconnect this physically. And this there. Now hopefully now it's working properly. Not just a string. Flaming Elmo. Still no audio? Okay. Is there audio now? Audio is back. Oh, well, there's nothing else that I can do about it, I suppose. Anyway, we'll try again tomorrow, I suppose, and see if the audio actually decides to fucking work. Virginia Attorney General criticizes Fairfax's handling of sex offender Richard Cox's case. Yes, indeed. He was arrested in Arlington County, and he was exposing himself to kids at several locations. And he was, doing other weird stuff. Apparently, he had child porn on his phone, and he was perving on people, and he also had, the kids' swimming schedules. So it's pretty clear that this is the sort of person that has the white van and works in a candy store. That much is quite clear. But then, because he's not allowed to perv on the kids there in Arlington, he goes over to Fairfax. Now, having been banned from interacting with minors and stuff like that, he just goes to the next county and he says, well, I'll just do it here. I'm going to be violating the court's order, but fuck it. I need to see them 10-year-olds. Really, really turn on. But people in Fairfax, they're not going to do anything about this. He is currently free to perv on small children, and as long as he doesn't expose himself again, or gets caught doing it anyway, and doesn't do anything else, apparently nobody's going to do jack shit about it. So you've got now a known pedophile walking around among kids and using the girls' locker room. Apparently he's claiming to be a she, so they couldn't stop him under Virginia law. And then he did exactly what I warned of 10 years ago when this whole bullshit started, which is that it's not somebody who's genuinely transgendered and just wants to be left alone that you have to worry about. What it is people who are going to take advantage of the expansive nature of that somewhat malleable label in order to victimize other people. And indeed, unfortunately, in this case, that's what happened. Last year, Cox, a biological male, in other words, male, told Fairfax County Rec Center staff he was a woman, and per Fairfax County's transgender policy, he was allowed to use women's locker rooms, which is where he allegedly exposed himself to women and girls, according to victims. Video obtained by 7 News shows Cox entering women's locker rooms at Fairfax County's Oakmont, Audrey-Moore, and Franconia rec centers. So he went to a number of rec centers and was perving on small children, and apparently women. Guess he just likes pussy a lot. Doesn't really care about its age, I guess. Freak. Video obtained by 7 News also shows Cox walking out of Fairfax County's Our Special Harbor Spray Park, a water park designed for young kids with disabilities, and walking in the direction of Chessie's Big Backyard Playground. So in other words, he's going around recording kids, exposing himself, and making lewd comments probably and all this other shit. And apparently, there's literally nothing that they can do about it at the moment. King of Biltong, increase your protein intake with some great tasting meat snacks. Biltong is packed with B vitamins, creatine, iron, zinc, and much more. Get some at www.biltongusa.com. Use code STICKS for 10% off. Copium, if you're using a USB mic, that may be the problem. Get an interface with the proper mic with XLR input. Yes, I'm going to have to upgrade the setup. Yeah, the thing is, if you, no, Chat Factory, I didn't make 300K last month, although I strongly wish that I did. That would be great. Yeah, 300,000 a month, that would set me up. I could retire after a couple of years. I wouldn't, though. I like my job too much. Ninja, the quartering said your cooking sucks. Dude, I guarantee that I can outcook him. That's a challenge. We'll both make beef stew, and then we'll have a taste test sometime or something. That would be funny. Sith, oh god, if we go on another Sticks upgrade campaign, 4chan is going to have fun with that. No, I'd just upgrade it myself. I mean, it wouldn't cost a terribly large amount of money. And it would be worth it if I can get everything straightened out. I kind of want to have a different rig here just for the videos and work that I do in the office so that I can just keep the laptop in the bedroom. I mean, there is another one, but right now it has a little bit of an issue. It needs to be taken in for repairs at some point. So, yeah, quartering, I mean, I assume because of his heavily meat diet, he'd be better to consult for a steak, probably. But yeah, I think I can out-soup him. Yeah, we'll go through. We'll take all the recipes that we know, and then we'll put them on slips of paper, right? Put them all in a jar, and we each draw like 3 recipes, and then we have to cook them, and both of us have to cook each one, and then we'll see. That'd be fun. What's my favorite thing that I've ever cooked, actually? Huh. That's a hard one, actually. Because I think one of them is stuffed peppers. Stuffed peppers are great. You get a nice herby, ricey mix for inside, with some vegetables, of course. You literally just lift the top off of a pepper, clear out the seeds. And the trick before you can use it as a cup and drink a glass of water from the pepper. It's actually very fun. And it adds just a very slight peppery flavor to it. I love doing that. And then you just stuff it. You put cheese on top. You can do it meatless or with meat. I usually use hamburger myself. Soup wars sound fun, says Demi Donovan. That'd be a good idea. Imagine that we fought wars by having like contests that didn't kill people. But then you know that people, some people would slip poison into the food or something like that. Then everything erupts in a brawl. Copium Poppies, I'll send you my old interface from before I upgraded. You may need to get a power cable. You also need to get the mic and XLR cable. Yeah, I'll have to invest in that sort of thing. Oh, and tacos. I think I cook tacos well. Just saying. I don't do those gringo tacos, and I never will. I refuse. Won't don't eat them. Tacos come in grades. It's like most low effort to like artisanal tacos, basically. This happens with most foods too. But then again, it depends on what somebody likes on their food. Like, for example, when I cook meatloaf, I like to make a very thick layer of the sauce on top. Some people only use a little, and some people don't use any at all. I think some people mix it in with the meat. I don't know, probably tasty. And some people like mushrooms in their meatloaf. I do. Some people fucking hate it. They detest the idea. Joe, try making a beef Wellington. Not hard, just tedious. Yeah, I've never had that, actually. To over easy mode, if you DM me on Twitter, I'll just give you my street address. I don't have a P.O. box. I mean, it's already out there, so anyone who wants to do me harm or something, they can already find where I live. So I don't mind giving it to people who want to send me cool stuff. Base Acid Fox. White people's tacos suck. Most of them do, yes. I learned from Mexicans. Lemon curd. Yes, onions go into meatloaf. Yeah. I like to make my own sauces and shit. I still need to learn how to make that sweet and pork, actually, so that I can make like a proper pork fried rice. Because it's delicious. Spider Eternal. After living in Texas for over a decade, I'll never get tacos up north ever again. People had never had that bomb in Mexican tacos don't understand how much theirs suck. I know, I feel your pain. Yeah, if you came over here, you could get properly made tacos, though. The real ones. So, Serbian capybara sticks. What do you think of the keto and carnivore diet? I don't do either. I like a mixed diet myself. It has apparent health benefits, but then again, so does the Mediterranean diet or the Caribbean diet and some of these others. I think that people should just listen to their bodies. Your body craves something, indulge it. Unless it's something that you know is not healthy, like, a lot of fats and sugars and stuff, seed oils. Or, an enormous amount, like Wonder Bread or something like that. I fondly remember the days of my youth when a sandwich that you took to the playground was Wonder Bread with fluff inside of it. I wonder if all of you know what fluff is. It's sort of like this marshmallowy, overly sugary white goo that you spread on it. And so I would have peanut butter and fluff. The only thing nutritious in there was the peanut butter. Randall Flagg. Sticks, the hipster taqueria here charges $21.99 for an extra large burrito. This is criminal. They're hurting for business. Maybe they should just hire illegals to cut costs, just the cost of doing business, IG. Well, yeah, it'd be cheaper, and also probably they would be more knowledgeable about how to make them. Corn pop. Bologna and ketchup was my go-to. I did try that once. It's alright. Ketchup goes on all sorts of stuff. But on bologna, yeah, no. Let's see, what did I put? I mean, I would put mayonnaise on the bologna sandwich, but I preferred 9-grain bread. I liked it to be more hearty, and also some mustard, of course, and then of course you can put lettuce on it and shit. CZO, on Timcast IRL, someone expressed the opinion that the Democratic Party might collapse entirely into irrelevancy, and the Republican Party will split in two, creating a new two-party system. Thoughts? That sort of thing can happen within politics, yeah. I don't think it's likely at this juncture, though. People are so locked into the football team partisan mentality that it's difficult to imagine that actually happening. But it is possible, yeah. You get all sorts of weird political coalitions throughout time. We've got a local Mexican restaurant here called Taco Fresco. It's right in the downtown here in Rutland. If you ever get up to Rutland, I would recommend checking them out. While Luz Luna is my favorite restaurant, if you want Mexican, I would go to Taco Fresco. Apparently, Gil's has the best sandwiches, although I like hand carved by Ernie a lot. I've got some brand loyalty there. And supposedly, the Yellow Deli soon should be getting its certification to be able, the city is going to allow them to improve the structure. After, what has it been now, a year or some fucking shit? But that was one of my favorites. I can't wait to be able to go back there. They have really great fucking hot dogs. And they're big. They're not like the little ones you get like Ballpark Franks. It's like this big-ass hot dog that they cut in half. Nice, buttery, artisanal bread. You have to ask for ketchup, though. And then I consider their sect to be heretics at this point because you have to ask for the ketchup. They put the mustard and the mayo on automatically, but you have to ask for anything else. If you eat a hot dog without ketchup, it's not really a hot dog. It's more like a mediocre dog. Unless you've got a good sweet chili. Serving coffee bar at Sticks, the kind of guy to think Taco Bell is an authentic Mexican restaurant. Oh, I could tell you so many funny stories about Mexican food. Mexican food story number one, actually, no. While I will eat Taco Bell once in a while, it's not authentic. Some of it's better than others. Also, you need a little bit more spice than they can supply. But when I was down in southern Texas, when I was in the Rio Grande Valley, one time my ex-wife and her siblings, her sister and her little brother, they wanted to go out to Taco Bell. And so I'd drive them to Taco Bell. And it was fucking hilarious. You get to Taco Bell. Now, keep in mind, everyone here is Mexican. So you'd think, they're getting like homemade Mexican food. Nope, they're all eating at Taco Bell. Place was packed. I don't know how many people were in there, but you had to wait quite a while for your food. Fucking, more popular down there than it is up here, which I found hysterical. I laughed about that a few times. Copium poppies. Democrats can be replaced by libertarians. That would work. Yeah, if we had no far-left representation, it'd be a better nation. Hey, that rhymed all the time. Debbie Donovan, I can't breathe. I'm choking on a hot dog. Kidding. Copium. Nathan's Jumbo all-beef hot dogs are the only hot dogs worth buying. Yeah, the all-beef ones are the best, yeah. Yes, Seeking Liberty. I did. I was married to a Mexican girl back in 2008. Mr. Buster Pants, thick slice of onion, mayo, and whole grain bread. Yeah. Randall Flagg, Sticks. Ron Paul talks often of ending the federal corn subsidies started under Reagan, which contributed to the proliferation of high fructose corn syrup and led to the fattening of America. Do you agree? That's difficult. If you end the subsidies, then far less corn is created. Otherwise, the price will plummet, and it'll no longer be saleable. So farmers would go out of business. In order to stabilize the price, you would have to do something in order to prevent farmers from simply growing more corn. The market would get overcrowded. Same with certain other agricultural crops that simply grow really well, especially in the grain belt in the United States. So it could be a problem. But I am, in principle, against the subsidies, because I think that everything should stand for itself. If anything, I would give subsidies to small home farmers and stuff like that, but I would rip the subsidies out of the hands of Bill Gates farms and stuff like that. Uh, let's see. Spider Eternal. Fuck Chicago and they're hot. Way to go. True. You must have ketchup. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. All beef franks and the barbecue grill is the best. True. You know, it's like hamburgers. One of the best hamburgers that I ever had was actually at a goddamn Kmart, if I remember correctly. Back when that was a thing. Yeah, that was a while ago. That was when I was a kid. There was this little deli in there, and they had some of the best fries, one of the best burgers that I've ever fucking had. Way better than like standard. It was like, you know, I guess another one would be Penny's Diner, the one that I went to on next to the motel that I stayed in when I went on Timcast. There's this place called Penny's Diner that's down there. Really, really good stuff. Yeah, get the chili dog. Let's just put it that way. Copium. Taco Bell is better than a lot of authentic Mexican food. Hell, my Mexican neighbor is all about the Taco Bell. Lol. Yeah, down there too. I was surprised. I figured, they didn't think I'd like tamales. And they're like, oh, and this gringo can't possibly appreciate this. I was like, wow, this is great. Mm. Chorizo all over the place. Yeah, now I'm starting to get hungry. I wonder why. Copium. Not just any all beef hot dogs. The Nathan's brand ones kick the asses of other brands' beef hot dogs. I think that the best ones, and some of you will have a cheeky chuckle at this, are Hebrew National all beef. What I do is you take a couple of, if you want to make a Jewish hot dog sandwich, take a couple slices of seeded Jewish rye, and you can toast them lightly if you want. You don't have to. And then you take two of the Hebrew National all beefs, and you cut them lengthwise, and you slap that on there. And then, you can cook them any way you want before you slice them, or you can just nuke them in the microwave before you slap them on the bread. It doesn't really matter. And then you put whatever toppings you want on there, which is hilarious. Yeah, but Nathan's is really good, too. Sith, he's not wrong. Mexican food is bland. Mexican food bland? I mean, maybe some of the foods, but most of it is a flavor sensation. Moskvich, any good kebabs in Vermont? Not really. No, we don't really have that. There's a couple of places to sell Indian food now, and of course you can get all the soup and sandwich fare you want. There are cafes, Mexican food. But no, I don't know if there's any. I know if you go up to Burlington, there's Middle Eastern food. And I think they still have the Sherpa restaurant, the Tibetan restaurant, which looks really good. I'd love to see it, but I don't know. There's so much leftoid activity in Burlington. I think I'll just stay down here in Redneckville with my people, my hillbilly friends. Hillbilly food could be good too. I would love to try possum. Copium. Nathan's kicks Hebrew National's ass. We're going to have to start a friendly feud and do blind taste testing. Yeah, I am, as you may have noticed, I am very cosmopolitan with regards to food. I'll try anything, well, virtually anything once. Spicy? That's alright. Bland? That's okay too, depending on how it's cooked. Go on the Great British Baking Show or something like that. I would love to try a true full English sometime. I've had a slightly Americanized version of it before, actually cooked by one of my exes, and it was delicious. And I slopped that shit down. Yeah. I don't know how many calories are in one of those bad boys, but, you've got quite a pile of food. It's really more the kind of food for people who are about to go out and be a lumberjack for 10 hours or something like that. But it's tasty. Debbie, critter dinners are real in Kentucky. Yeah, I know. And then they have... Do roadkill... I've always wanted to ask this. Because I don't know, because I'm from here in Vermont. The roadkill cafes, do they actually buy roadkill? Like somebody hit an animal and then they dressed it off and they haul it in and they'll cook it? Is that actually a thing, or is the term roadkill cafe more, hey, they serve stuff that would generally be considered, like possum and raccoon and stuff. Because I literally don't know. Sunny Cat, yeah, borscht is really great. I like Polish food. Had some of that in New York City. I had the Polish version and the Ukrainian version of borscht. I liked the Polish version better. Yo, there are a lot of bomb threats across the country right now. Not kidding. Look it up. Uh, wouldn't surprise me. Hmm. The one in Nazareth University was cleared, but Delaware State and Morgan State and Townsend, yeah, it looks like there's a whole shit ton of bomb threats within the last few hours. It looks like, huh? Uh, yeah, some of these are within the last hour. Looks like somebody's having some stupid fun. Let's see. Copium. Authentic Mexican food largely sucks. The Americanized versions improve it. Even the supposedly authentic restaurants have some degree of Americanization. The tacos that I ate were probably being produced by illegal immigrants. Have to say, they were good. And cheap. I think it was like $5 for 6 of them, and you get pretty much whatever toppings you wanted. Spider Eternal. Authentic Polish hot dogs are also fantastic. True. They're actually raw, you have to properly cook them. Copium, borscht, is Russian. It's from that entire region, and there are different variants. Yeah, so apparently there are a bunch of bomb threats being called in today. Why do I get the feeling that leftists are probably behind it? The Joker, the Colonel will never go away. KFC ain't got nothing on my fried chicken. That's one thing I definitely know how to make very well. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I like seasoning and stuff. You should see, sometime I should haul all of the hot sauces that are in the fridge and on the spice rack and in the bedroom and several other places. Sometime I should show you all of the hot sauce that I have here. Um, a lot of it over time I got from my dad because he's really into hot sauces and salsas and shit like that. And so I would always say like he's difficult to buy for like Christmas or his birthday or something. So I would just always get him hot sauce basically. Or marine related stuff like a shirt or a hat or something like that. But I would always generally get him hot sauce as well. I lost count actually of how many jars are there. Most of them unopened, and hot sauce, of course, it stays good for a very, very long time. I'm probably going to be goddamn 50 before I can even plow through all the hot sauce that's out there. Because for some of it, it's so hot, you only need a few drops. You're not using it for the flavor. What I wish I had, and I was, if I had a Christmas wish, it'd be to get some more Niflheim sauce from Realm Walker, that green sauce. Because just got right enough kick that it's perfect on a taco. And it looks good and tastes good. But you get that flavor too. King of Biltong, of course, brings in the heat too with the peri peri. Copium. Taco Bell tacos are made by illegals too, lol. Well, I mean, that's true. Yeah, it looks like somebody's having a little bit of a lark with some universities right now. Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to show them all off. I'll have to like, and if I want to show you the entire collection in one spot of all of the spicy stuff. I've got seasonings, rubs, sauces, pastes. I mean, it's incalculable amounts of heat there. Be funny to take just a little bit from each one and mix them all together and see what that tastes like. And then crush up one of those one chip challenge chips actually in it just to teach myself a fucking lesson. Now, last time I did the one-chip challenge, my lower gum began to bleed. I would say it's the hottest thing that I've ever encountered. Apparently, though, there's some other challenge that's like 3 times spicier than the one-chip challenge. I will not try that for any price, because I know my limitations. Getting through that, I think, impresses people enough. But then again, I also eat, like, dried scorpions and tarantulas with ketchup on them, so I enjoy this sort of thing. I have my dream job. And then next year, once the garden is clear, it's time to plant lots and lots of hot peppers. I'm going to try to create my own hot sauce, actually. It looks like the basic premise is simple, but getting the flavor and the balance right, I think, is probably the hard part. I don't want it to just be like, you know, spicy tomatoey mash or something like that. Lemon curd. Do you still eat MREs? Absolutely. Snakes bleed red. Yes, a man of good taste. Stuffed shells with marinara sauce. Made them ones. Oh, they were so fucking good. With extra ricotta. Oh, yeah. You've got to use ricotta when you're making stuffed shells. It is mandatory. And it's so good. And I put spinach, of course, in with it. Some people do, some people don't. Some people leave the spinach out, because, I mean, some people don't like their greens. I personally love it. Lemon curd. Sticks. Do a maple syrup flavored hot sauce. That could work. Yeah, I'm assuming that somebody has already made it, though. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. Because, oh, wait, King of Biltong, you need to find that South African MRE. I want to know what's in it. You eat that MRE and start sounding Afrikaans. Yeah, I couldn't find it. I looked through my 2 MRE containers, but I couldn't find that specific one, so I'm still searching for it. I don't know exactly where I put it. Sorry, but I will, once I find it, I'll definitely eat it. Copium, idea for next challenge. Put a 1-chip in a food processor to powder it and snort it. That would kill you. You would asphyxiate on that. Yeah, but I'm going to go offline. I'm going to docket some news, and I've got some other work to do. And then later on, I'm playing Oregon Trail for a while because, you know what, last night I did a campaign as a trapper going from St. Joseph to the Sacramento Valley, if I remember correctly. And in a fairly early year with no additional skills, 5 compatriots. So not as hard as doing that with a teacher, because you can get the second wagon if you need, and you start off with more money, and a few skills are ingrained anyway. But it was fun. We almost lost this one moron. Before I go off, I got to tell you about this particular playthrough. Thomas. Thomas is a retard. He almost drowned 3 times, and he kept getting sick, and it's like, what the hell is wrong with you? He was uniquely plagued. Almost died, actually. Kept delaying us, because after someone almost drowns, it's a good idea to rest for a day or something. So I had to do that 3 times, and he's just all fucked up, and I think he got concussed as well at one point. He's not exactly what we wished for when we had a son. Copium poppies. By the way, you gotta snort the biltong powder since you did the rub last time. Well, yeah, I'll probably do that. Hopefully my nose bleeds again because fucking hilarious. So yeah, it is time to go offline. I will be back tomorrow with more news. That's about all. Peace out.